Hi, I'm Richard Vague, and this week we'll discuss student loans in the US and the UK. Over the course of the last decade, there has been an enormous concern about student debt in the US, which had grown from $480 billion in 2006 to a peak of $1.8 trillion in early 2023, with the number of borrowers increasing from 28 million to 43 million during that time. Particularly noteworthy were the increase in loans to students at for-profit colleges, where those borrowers were incurring large debts for degrees that were often of little value. In the most recent 2 quarters, student loan balances have actually declined slightly to $1.7 trillion. This is no coincidence, as the Biden administration has made a priority of student loan forgiveness, canceling $127 billion as of late October. Of course, student debt borrowers of federal loans were not required to make payments during the pandemic, but as of October have had to restart payments, so there is concern over credit quality going forward. In the 10 years prior to the pandemic, student loan delinquency rates averaged almost 11%, the highest for any form of consumer borrowing during that period, even above the historically high credit card delinquency rate. The Biden administration's famous plan to forgive up to $20,000 per borrower, which was disallowed by the Supreme Court, received much of the headlines over the last couple of years. However, what is being implemented seemingly under the radar is the SAVE program, the new income-based repayment plan, which will dramatically reduce monthly payments for borrowers, in some cases cutting payments by more than half, while continuing to forgive loans after 20 years. There are 3 provisions that account for the decreased monthly payment. First, the discretionary income threshold has been increased. Second, for most borrowers, the percent of income above that threshold subject to repayment will be cut from 10% to 5%. Third, and arguably most important, as long as the required monthly payments are made, interest will never be added to the loan balance. While the U.S. has been making its repayment plans more generous to borrowers, the U.K. has been going in the opposite direction. Looking at debt outstanding as a percent of GDP, the U.K. has surpassed the U.S. The U.K. has had a similar income-based repayment approach since 1998, where monthly payments will never exceed 9% of discretionary income. However, unlike with the U.S. SAVE plan, interest does accrue and is added to the outstanding balance of debt. This approach has been compared to a graduate tax. Because monthly payments are often low and interest accrues, the outstanding balance continues to grow to unmanageable levels. This results in the majority of debtors having to pay 9% of their income for much of their adult life. For UK students starting in the 2023 academic year, the discretionary income threshold to start paying back loans has been lowered, which in turn will add a significant burden to borrowers, particularly for low earners. Additionally, while debtors under the previous plan had their debt forgiven after 30 years, students will now have to continue making payments for up to 40 years after leaving school. Although not receiving as much attention, these repayment structures and the different directions in the US and UK are something to keep an eye on going forward. That's it for this week. Thanks.